Welcome to part 9 of the Dennis Wolf Open. Today's matchup features the 2006 Santa Susana Pro versus the 2007 Keystone Pro Classic. It appears that these are two more aesthetic versions of Dennis Wolf, in my opinion. They both look fantastic. Small waist in the Santa Susana Pro. Much smaller in my opinion, although in this case, I don't think that the Santa Susana Pro is better than the Keystone Pro just because of that small waist. Have a look at the arms here. Yes, the biceps are just as good for the Santa Susana, but take a look at his triceps. Much larger in the Keystone. Much larger. I am leaning slightly towards the Keystone Pro Classic in this front double bicep, but don't kid yourself, this competition is far from over. This is a very close front double bicep. The front lat spread, I also believe belongs to the Keystone Pro Classic, but I could see an argument here for awarding the Santa Susana Pro. Look at his pecs. Now, no, they are not as striated. He's not flexing them, perhaps. But look at them. They look like two big balloons. That's that real 1970s look. I like that. Very aesthetic. But I feel that those lats are filled out much better in the Keystone Pro Classic. So that's enough for me for the win. Plus, look at the conditioning. I believe he has a conditioning edge. And not to mention the arm size as well. And here we are with our first glance at the back development of these two versions of Wolfie. I must say, the Santa Susana is doing battle as far as the back is concerned. Very wide in the lat region, and not to mention the lower lat insertions a little bit more visible, prominent, if you will. Of course, that muscle separation is better for the Keystone Pro Classic, not the Santa Susana. But when I look at the lag department, I think it is close enough in the back department to award the Keystone Pro Classic. The win in this one, the lag development is much better here, in my opinion. And flap those wings, Santa Susana Pro. Wow! Dennis Wolf's rear lat spread here for the Susana is fantastic. Look at the width. I was actually looking at a lot of his older rear lat spreads, and he used to hit it differently. Maybe a little bit better, in my opinion. Hard to say. I do have one gripe. His arms. They are taking from the lats. He's sticking his arms out. You notice the Keystone Pro Classic. He's holding his arms more to the front, and it makes them less visible. But still, even though the Keystone Pro Classic has an advantage in the lag department, I'm just blown away with the width of his lats. He's leaning back much farther, creating this illusion. But man, what an illusion. These are the widest lats that I have ever seen in my life. Just incredible. Now, in the side tricep pose, the angles are different. Displaying that tricep is a must in this pose, and the Santa Susana Pro just nailed that positioning. Look at the size of that tricep. Not to mention, this is that version where he looks like the crafty, evil cartoon wolf. So, gets a little point in that aspect. But when I look at the conditioning of the Keystone Pro Classic, I am thinking that is a much better version. We are, after all, looking for the best version of Wolf. I honestly do not think the Keystone Pro Classic can be beaten by the Santa Susana Pro. I am actually going to make this one the last pose. Like I said, the Santa Susana Pro just cannot come out of the deficit that he is in and will not be able to beat the Keystone Pro Classic. Two good most musculars. Look at the pecs. I've never seen his pecs look so good and thick and full, and they're nice and striated here at the Santa. But they are also looking quite good indeed at the Keystone Pro Classic. And the arms, look at the delts in particular. But the whole arm there just looks better. This is a superior version of Dennis Wolf. So, advance on Keystone Pro Classic. And now at this time, let's jump right into the second half of this double feature. The 2012 Arnold Classic versus the 2014 Arnold Classic versions of Dennis Wolf. Right from the get-go, it looks like a 2012 victory. The conditioning, the legs perhaps, a little bit of an advantage to the 2014, but look at those cannons. Look at the guns. His biceps, or at least one of his biceps, in particular that right bicep, dwindled away, as well as the triceps, a little bit later on in his career. Not to mention the abs, the waistline perhaps a little bit better in the 2012. 1-0. And after this front lat spread, I believe it is 2-0 for the 2012 Arnold Classic. Those lats are much more filled out in that version. Not to mention, look at the size difference of the arms. It was evident in the front double bicep, and just as here in this pose. Once again, the legs look fantastic in the 2014, but nowhere near enough. Again, look at the abs. There's something wrong. His stomach looks a little bit, I don't know, looks a little distended perhaps. I'm not sure. There's definitely something wrong. 2012, much better set of abs. Here in the rear lat spread, and honestly, this is the last chance here in the back shots for 2014 to make a comeback. But it is just not going to happen. Once again, I will reiterate, those legs are awesome in 2014. It's a little bit hard to get the sizes in this one correctly. His calves, they look a little bit too large, maybe, I don't know, in 2012. Maybe they just were a lot larger. But I honestly could not make this version any smaller because if you look at the head size, the sizes probably are pretty close to being correct. If you look at the back development, take a good look there. Take a gander. That back development of 2012 is much better in my opinion. Just has much more flow, much more aesthetic, and just a better back. Things are a little bit closer here in the rear double bicep, I will admit. The arms are still larger in the 2012, as well as the traps. Now in the rear lat spread, you could really see those traps. They work themselves all the way down to the lower lat insertions. And they are much more visible here, the lower lat insertions, a little bit wishy-washy in the 2014. But having said that, when you look at the lag development, I might wager to say that the 2014 is winning this pose, but far, far from a victory. It is still a 2012 show. Here in the ab and thigh, and I would also go with 2012. 2014, he's hitting it the way he normally does. I like this variation in 2012. He's holding one leg straight and he is displaying some feathering. And when it comes to feathering, this is what I'm looking for in an ab and thigh pose. And he doesn't have the most aesthetic set of abs in the world. So to go to the side a little bit like he is, displaying those obliques, right on the money. So gets another victory here. And there's, like I said, there's just no way 2014 could ever come back with a victory. But we will have a look at this final pose, the most muscular. And I must say, I'm a little bit disappointed. These are not two good most musculars. And if you'll recall, in the first matchup in this double feature, I wish I could just show the comparison, but we have to wait for that one. Those two most musculars, both of them. Remember the size of his pecs? Much better, much bigger. Like I said, I'm disappointed with this PU performance. But that's just one pose. This 2012 Arnold Classic could still very well be the best version of Dennis Wolf. And he is advancing on in this tournament. So, both semifinal matches are set and ready to go. 2007, Mr. Olympia versus 2013, Mr. Olympia. Versions of Wolf, That'll be the first half of the semifinal matches. And then, of course, today's winners will face off the 2007 Keystone Pro Classic versus the 2012 Arnold Classic. And of course, because I love you guys, I always do this, I am going to show both semifinal matches simultaneously, and it's hard to do. I have to create another entire universe and another me, and I have to do them at the exact same time. Gets very confusing, but you guys shouldn't have to worry about that. It is up to me and my DeLorean. I hope you enjoyed today's broadcast. Have a good day.